what did we discuss in the pregame program? That this game was crucial, that the Phillies wanted to make sure that there was no hope for Arizona, or virtually no hope, and Arizona wanted to keep that door cracked open, and they did. 2-1 Diamondbacks in game number 3. Phillies lead the series 2-1 as we welcome you to Phillies Postgame Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Ricky Pitalico, Ben Davis, Ruben Amaro Jr. We'll hear from Rob Thomson and Bryce Harper, and of course John Clark and Tom McCarthy joining us from Arizona. When you look at this one, Ricky, low-scoring game, and we thought that might be the case, but what we didn't think of is this kid, and I said watch out for this kid. Brandon fought, and he fought, and the Phillies couldn't get a run on him. Barely.
I'll tell you what, his video that I saw before the game looked nothing like what he was throwing out there tonight. He had really good sink on his sinker. His fastball had a little movement on it towards the outside of the plate to righties also. And that breaking ball, I mean, I think Ruben and I both were talking about the breaking ball, that he kind of spikes it a lot, puts it in dirt a lot. He was on point with that. I will say this much. Both starting pitchers were ridiculously good in this game, and they both deserved a little bit better. I mean, 5 1/3 for Ranger, 5 2/3 for Fott. I think they both could have gone probably at least 2 more innings each. And I mean, what do you say? Do you tip your cap to the kid? Do you look and just say, well, he had his best stuff, we just couldn't get to him? Or do you chalk it up to the Phillies have never seen him before?
Yeah, well, and I asked you about that in the pregame program, whether or not
it would happen.
They have had issues with pitchers they have yet to see. They had never seen this guy before, and it turns out Brandon Fott really pitched very, very well. Ben, how'd you see it?
The last thing I want to do is give the opposing pitcher any credit, but he was electric. He was unbelievable. He had good extension on his four-seamer. It had a little bit of cut at the end. His sinker had great life, and it was late life. His sweeper was really good. His changeup was really good, and I'm very surprised Torey Lovullo went out and got him when he did. It worked out for the Diamondbacks, but bottom line is the Phillies had 3 hits, and one of them was a bleeder to third base that Alec Boehm had. So not a whole lot going right offensively for them tonight, and that's obviously the reason why they lost the game.
Yeah, Ruben, this kid had 9. He's a rookie, 25 years of age, Brandon Fott. He had 9 strikeouts. That's a game's worth of strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings pitched.
Yeah, he pitched great. I mean, it's as simple as that. These guys summed it up. I thought the Ranger Suarez was excellent. He was cool, calm, and collected as usual. Pitched a heck of a game, and unfortunately, the Phillies. I just thought that the Phillies offensively did not have seemingly the right approach on this guy. They looked like they were trying to drive the ball out of the ballpark instead of just taking good quality swings on him. They were taking strikes. They were swinging at balls. There were times during the course of the early part of the game when Fott was struggling with throwing his breaking ball for strikes. They were swinging over them. And then he sort of got into a great rhythm. And to his credit, I mean, he mixed it up really, really well. They had a great game plan against the Phillies. They executed it, and they got a whole bunch of strikeouts. What was it, 12 Ks, 13 Ks? That's a lot of punch-outs. That's way too many punch-outs, especially with a team like this. They have a decent staff as far as their pitching is concerned. But I didn't like the approach that the Phillies had tonight. Way too many strikeouts.
One thing I noticed is especially, I believe it was in the second inning with Boehm and Stott. They got themselves into good counts. I'm not so sure they were seeing that pitch out of his hand, that sweeper out of his hand at all, because they were making up decisions. I turned to you at one point and I said, wow, he swung at that. And I said, wasn't even a strike out of his hand, was it, Ben? And you kind of smiled and said, no, not even close. But I'm wondering if they were seeing that ball at all out of his hand.
I just saw some big swings tonight, some really
Nick
big
Castellanos?
swings. Castellanos, he looked like he was on roller skates up there tonight. And I know it does happen from time to time, but that high fastball was giving him fits the entire night. But he just kept offering at it and swinging out of his shoes. Has not been his MO throughout the course of these playoffs. That's why he swung the bat so stinking well. But tonight it was just a different animal. It's almost like he was trying to hit a grand slam every time he was up there. It does happen, unfortunately. It happened tonight, but the Phils had a perfect opportunity to go up 3-0, just didn't carry it out.
Ruben, when Ben says big swings, does that suggest overconfidence, if not cockiness? Like, we got this kid, he's 25, he's a rookie, and we'll be able to handle him, where really they should have been looking for different things?
I don't know if it was cockiness, but I just think that they were just trying to make something happen with one swing instead of grinding out at bats and having quality at bats. The other part of this game, and I don't typically talk about the umpires, there was a very strange strike zone. Dan Iasanya, who's usually a pretty good umpire, I think he struggled back there, and I think that there was a lot of questions about what was a strike, what was a ball. He was doing it on both sides for both sides, so it's not necessarily an excuse, but it was a strangely called game back there, and I think at times that can make the hitters, all of them, from both sides, can make them feel a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, and even Lance Barksdale at first base when he's got a check swings, and I thought that was brutal.
He stinks.
Let's take a look at telling it like it is. And a win tonight, they would have all but put the final nail in it, and that did not happen. So
the final nail will
tomorrow,
be put in this. You know what? You're probably going to look at an angry Phillies team, and somebody's going to come out and say we're used to having our backs up against the wall, and they're going to kick the out of the Diamondbacks tomorrow.
Yep. Well, we heard Nick say that Nick Castellanos say last week after the Braves loss. He said we thrive being punched in the face.
How many times have you seen this offense go cold for more than one game in the last month?
Hasn't
Seriously,
happened.
Think about it. Probably hasn't happened
much. And again, they had not seen Fott, and he pitched a great game against them. And I fully expect, and I know that Torey Lovullo is going to run out about 7 or 8 different pitchers tomorrow. But the reality of it is that the Phillies have seen most of these pitchers. He's going to flip out there, and I think they're going to take care of some business.
More on the lack of Phillies offense in a moment, but we go to the clubhouse. Here's Craig Kimbrell on the 9th.
Not on his bat, that's for sure. Just trying to get another strike, and put enough wood on it to get a hit and drive in the run.
What was your game plan versus him?
Well, I mean, the game plan against all of them in that inning obviously was to get ahead and put them away, and I just wasn't able to do it today.
How much did the leadoff walk obviously hurt?
I mean, in top ball game, that always tightens up a little bit, obviously, with the stolen base and trying to keep them from scoring. It always tightens it up a little bit. Trey made a ridiculous play there to keep us in it. I got ahead. Felt like I made some pitches to try to get us out of it. And some days you get them, some days you don't. And today just wasn't that day.
How quickly do you shake it off and move on to the next game?
Well, you don't have a choice. We played a good game today. I don't know. It always sucks to lose, but we played a tough game, and we're going to come back tomorrow and expect to win tomorrow.
You've been through a lot of these. Does this feel like a game you should have won or could have won?
Both.
Asked by Matt Weiner, do you feel like this is a game you could have won or should have won? And Craig Kimbrell answered both. Let me put it to you, Ben. How would you answer that? Should they have won this game?
Yeah, absolutely. You get a pitching performance like that out of Ranger Suarez, you got to find a way to win a ball game. And I thought the bullpen was okay. They got out of some jams. But the bottom line is they didn't hit. Again, they did not hit. They had 3 hits. This lineup that just scored 10 runs 2 nights ago, it had 3 hits and scored 1 run on a wild pitch. So that shows you the way the offense was tonight.
And when you ask should have, could have, I don't think the Phillies should have won this game because I think they were outplayed in the game when you look at it as a whole. I think the Diamondbacks had a lot more opportunities to score some runs, and both teams pitched well until the Orion Kerkering situation. But other than that, I thought both starting pitchers were on top of their game, making their pitches. I thought Ranger was as brilliant as I've ever seen him.
Yeah, he was wonderful. He
Brilliant.
really was.
With that sinker on the inside part of the plate to the right-handers. Just outstanding. Outstanding.
All right, Bryce Harper in the clubhouse in Arizona.
And then, they got one, and they were able to, capitalize on stuff that we weren't able to capitalize on. So, I just thought both guys threw really well today, and sometimes it'll happen.
What did you take away from Fott? Did you see him again?
I'm sorry?
What did you take away from Fott? Did you see him again?
That was the first time a lot of us have seen him. It's always tough, so, I thought he threw the ball well. I don't want to say too much just because I don't want to say, what I'm going to look for or anything like that. I thought he threw the ball well.
You guys moved on pretty quick last round from your tough loss. How confident are you that you can do it again?
Yeah, we're going to have to. you know, we're here at their place, so you know, they played a really good game today. You know, I thought both sides, good defense, good pitching. Just got to move on as quick as possible and get on to tomorrow.
When you scored on the wild pitch, did you see at all what JT signaled to you? I don't even know. Okay. You were going based on what you saw where the ball was going, no matter what?
How do you stay patient at the plate when I think you saw 17 pitches and only one was in the strike zone? I mean, it's kind of not new to you, but
no, I mean,
how do you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, I think just knowing that the guys behind me are going to get the job done and not miss the pitches in the zone. I got a pitch in the first at bat. You know, he beat me with the heater in the first at bat and you know, grounded out. So just can't miss the ones in the can't miss the ones in the zone. And just try to take the best I can.
Rob said Sanchez is going to start tomorrow. Just pretty big stage for a young guy. What do you expect him to handle that tomorrow?
Yeah, we have all the confidence in all of our young guys to go out there and do their job. You know, Sanchez is the same thing. You know, I think he's thrown the ball really well lately. You know, this will be his first start in a minute, but you know, we're confident in his ability to go out there and throw strikes and keep us in it, and you know, let our bullpen take care of it.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
Bryce Harper post-game, and he was asked about Brandon Pfaadt and how difficult a time. He said, hey, we have not seen that guy before. And I'm wondering, you know, there are plenty of times when a team hasn't seen a new pitcher and the pitcher gets lit up. It did not happen today. So
yeah, typically, I always feel like the pitcher has the advantage just because you know, the guys have not seen him. It's much tougher to hit than a pitch, I believe. And in this situation, you had a young pitcher who was not scared. He was aggressive. He threw strikes, and he knew how to, you know, execute his game plan. And you got to give him a lot of credit. That said, you know, in those situations, one other thing that I heard during the broadcast was that the team did not take batting practice outside. Now, they had a day off. They didn't take batting practice outside. It is a little bit different of a venue, so your eyes sort of you want to get your eyes sort of adjusted. I know that the team typically does not take a lot of BP outside, and they usually take it inside in the cages. But in this situation, I almost feel like some of the hitters should at least, you know, get a feel for what it's like, the background and that sort of thing. They did not do that. Hopefully that doesn't affect them for game two.
That's a great point. You would think it would be the thorough thing to do. Here's Rob Thomson on his team's performance and who will start for the Phillies tomorrow in Game 4.
Rob, what made Pfaadt so effective tonight? Did you think it was more about him, or was it more about the way the guys approaching him, or what did you think?
Oh, he did a nice job. I mean, he threw strikes, mixed his pitches well, kept us off balance. You know, it's a guy that we haven't seen before, so it's a little bit different. But I thought he did a good job, and I think our hitters will be ready to go tomorrow.
Okay, Marcus?
Rob, why did you go to Kirkering in the 7th when the other two guys seemed available?
Well, you know, he's pitched pretty well for us, and the moment's not too big for him. And we knew that in that part of the lineup, there's probably going to be some left-handed pinch hitting coming, chance to anyway. And he's really good on left-handers. Pavin Smith got the ball that fell in front of Castellanos, which wasn't really hit all that hard, but he just didn't execute a couple of pitches on the right-hand hitters.
Where does he stand in your view right now? I mean, will you put him in that situation again?
Yes.
Next question. In the back there, Matt, on the left.
What did you see from Kimbrel in the 9th, and how difficult is it after walking the leadoff batter there?
Yeah, that's the key, right? And he just couldn't find the zone consistently, and sometimes that happens to Kim, but he'll be available tomorrow, and he'll be ready to go.
Next question down here in the front, Anthony.
What is your plan now for tomorrow, both in terms of who starts and...
Sanchez will start.
Sanchez.
Yeah.
And how do you piece it together after him?
We'll figure it out.
Next question. We go back to Marcus.
You guys haven't struck out like this in a while. Was it fought, or was it lack of focus? Was it, just one of those days?
Not lack of focus, I can tell you that. These guys were locked in today, coming into the ballpark, and all the work was really good. I think Pfaadt pitched very well. And we saw a couple of guys we haven't seen so far in the playoffs with Ketel and Sewald and Thompson. So, you just got to dust yourself off and come back tomorrow, and that's what this team does.
Okay, far left. No, you good?
No, I think you was addressed. I was going to ask about Brandon Pfaadt. What did you see from Pfaadt? But I think you addressed it. If you've got anything more, I'd love to hear it.
He was good.
Rob, why Sanchez?
Well, he's been throwing the ball very well, and I know there's a lot of right-handers in that lineup, but I have a lot of confidence in him. I don't know how far we're going to be able to go with him, but he's been pitching very well and throwing strikes, and I got a lot of confidence in him.
Do you feel like you guys missed an opportunity today to really put control on this series?
It was a great ball game. It could have gone either way, I mean, what are you going to do? I'm not going to think about it that way. I'm going to think about coming in here tomorrow and getting ready to compete.
Back to Marcus.
By just a little bit, Ranger, had a career high in playoff outing experience. And again, you guys are starting pitchers, I think, are like a 1-7 with, 60 strikeouts and 4 walks. I can't imagine you thought you'd be sitting here 9 games into the postseason with your starters having performed that well.
Yeah, they've been fantastic. The walk rate, the strikeout rate, the soft contact rate, all of it has been really, really good. And hats off to them. And I think Sancho will come out here tomorrow and give us a good outing as well.
Okay, anything else for Rob? Okay, thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
If you have been watching Rob Thomson's post-game availabilities as we have the entirety of this season into the regular season, that's as ticked off as he has appeared. He was angry, I would say.
He was hot.
Yeah, he was hot. And how can you tell? Dropped his pen. I mean, that's the only.
But he was not in the mood to answer the questions.
He was short.
They asked him about Pfaadt, and he was like, "Yeah, he was good." I mean, okay.
And he said, what are you going to do? I
think he was angry. They had a game that they should have won. I mean, this is a team, when you get that kind of pitching performance from all those guys. I mean, I know late in the game they walked some guys and that cost them, but they should have won this game a long time ago because they got the pitching performances that they were hoping to get. And with this offense, they should score runs. And so that's an opportunity. I know he's not going to think about it that way, but that's an opportunity for them to go 3-0, and then when they go 3-0, it's over.
But is there any
now there's a series?
Is there any kicking yourself about the 7th inning and bringing in Orion Kirkering? Is there any kicking yourself on that situation?
I mean, he may have told a little white lie when asked the follow-up question about whether or not you have confidence to bring him in again. He said yes, and the way he said yes didn't sound like he meant
He's never going to say no.
Yes.
You could bring up any guy on this roster, he will never say, I don't have confidence in that
But
guy.
what's his culpability? Rob Thomson's in bringing Orion Kirkering in, who has been an awesome rookie, brought up late. Everybody sold on the kid. He gives up a single to center field. Then he gives up a double, and then the run scores. And that was it. That was the first run of the game.
Mm-hmm. I think bringing him, I don't have any problem with him coming into the ballgame. I had a problem with pitch selection. These are big league hitters that are sitting on sliders. And if you get a slider that is hanging, which he threw a bunch of tonight, you're going to hit the balls hard somewhere. That's the bottom line. It's pitch selection. If you have an arm that enables you to throw 96 to 99 miles an hour, at some point you have to throw a fastball. You have to double up on a fastball. Otherwise, you get a hanging slider, you will blister that baseball because he throws it for strikes. It's not like he's just burying everyone down in the dirt. He was throwing it for strikes, and those were big league hitters that were ready for hanging sliders.
And we have been saying this since he's come up, that slider is not going to cut it. Sooner or later, somebody's going to get a book on him. They're going to know what it looks like. People have seen him. They're going to start talking. They see him a couple times. Two of the guys just saw him the other night, so they know what he's bringing to the table. You start leaving that slider up, which he has, I mean, it's going to get hit around the ballpark. I really believe that mixing up pitches is the best thing in the world. But what bothers me is I keep going back to the day he came up and he threw 23 pitches, 20 sliders. What is it? And I remember JT's comment, well, you know what? It's his best pitch. Let's see it. No. You got to be able to pitch.
And I will say this. I will be surprised, and Ben makes a really good point about doubling up. I don't know. And these guys are watching every single game, and they chart every single game. I do not know if he has ever thrown two fastballs in a row.
And he throws 98,
So if you see a
99.
fastball and you're hitting, you're looking for the slider next pitch. And if he happens to not be able to execute it, then these major league hitters will capitalize. I don't necessarily have a problem with him coming into the game. I was just surprised that Hoffman didn't stay in the game because it looked like he had a pretty good handle on things. And had he stayed in, he had all those right-handers to face as well. So I was a little surprised by that.
Faced just 2 hitters. We're going to show you Orion Kerkering's 7th inning in a little bit. But first, Rob Thomson announces that Christopher Sanchez will be tomorrow's Game 4 starter for the Phillies, the left-hander who also was very good in the second half of this season. The speculation was either Sanchez or Taijuan Walker, and there were plenty of us who said, no, please, not Walker. Good for the regular season, good into his starts, but not right off the bat. You need to keep runs off.
You think they had this already picked, or did they watch this tonight and say, well, lefties could throw against this team?
Can I just suggest? What do you think?
Well, they probably had it already picked, but I think there was probably some wonderment in Rob Thomson thinking, let's see what a lefty in Ranger Suarez could do against his team, and if Sanchez's stuff will work against them.
Ben, what do you think?
My only issue is he and Ranger are very similar in the fact that they throw sinkers and changeups. And if they're coming off the same game plan, I guarantee you're going to see the same lineup in there tomorrow against Sanchez, the lefty. And, you go back-to-back nights with pretty much the same pitcher out on the mound. Obviously, Ranger has a little bit more command and was able to spin the curveball a lot better. Now, Sanchez will throw his slider as well, but he doesn't have the one with depth. So that's my only little bit of concern is the fact that the 2 pitchers in Suarez and Sanchez are very similar. But we'll see how long he goes tomorrow night.
Sanchez or Taijuan Walker or choice C?
I'm really happy with the Sanchez decision. I think this guy has earned it. He's pitched extremely well. He's not been afraid. He's pitched. And it's something that he has developed over the course of this year because earlier in the season, he was not pitching. And now he's pitching, and he's doing a heck of a job. My only concern is that these guys haven't pitched in a long time. I mean, I have to go back and look at the clock and see how long it's been since he's been on the mound. And the question will then be, how sharp will he be with that changeup? How sharp will he be with his command? I know he's got very good movement on his sinker. He's growing in front of our eyes, but you have to question whether or not the guy's going to be sharp because he hasn't pitched for a while. Hoffman did the job.
All right. How about when you look at these numbers, guys? What does that mean for the next time? 0.64 ERA in 3 postseason starts. This is not in May. This is not in June. This is in the postseason, 0.64.
Leave him in there for 7 or 8 innings. The guy's dealing right now.
Lowest postseason ERA.
Look at this.
In history. Minimum 5 starts. Sandy Koufax wasn't very good, so forget about it. Christy Mathewson could not pitch. Ian Anderson and Eddie Plank.
That is incredible.
Is that amazing?
That's
incredible.
6 starts. Koufax, also a lefty. 7 starts. Christy Mathewson way back.
Those are
11
impressive
starts.
numbers. Good for
impressive numbers. But
just does it with such a steady flow. I mean, the confidence is obviously there. And the heartbeat, we always talk about his heartbeat or lack thereof. I mean, I'd love to know what he's thinking about out on the mound. I mean, otherwise, he just says, you know what, here it is, hit it. I think I'm better than you. Maybe I'm not, but I think I am. I'm going to challenge you and be competitive in the strike zone. We'll see what happens.
How about his defense?
Oh, yeah.
That is the cockiest thing, but I love it.
I
mean, he gets a ground ball to him. He's going to check the laces. He's going to sign that thing. You go, all right, here we go.
If he was on another team, you would hate it.
Oh, I would hate his guts.
I hate him. But I'll tell you what, I love it that he plays for the Phillies. That no-look, he did that little no-look, the second one, over to first base.
He's smooth.
He's got a little flourish. He's got a little style. He's got a little cockiness.
Yeah, definitely cockiness.
I like it. Hey, you pitch with cockiness, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, that's just
Let's hear from Ranger Suarez, post-game, clubhouse.
Lo estaba localizando perfectamente y me ayudó bastante hoy en ese sentido.
Yeah, I was locating my pitches really well today, so that helped me a lot today.
Were you surprised to be taken out when you did?
¿Te sorprendió que te sacaran cuando te sacaron?
No. Sabemos la situación de cada juego, qué tan importante es cada juego. Me puse en una situación que obviamente lo acepté. Sabía que el juego, por una carrera, el juego se puede ir, entonces no podemos dar ese chance.
Not really. I knew the situation of the game. I knew, that the game mattered a lot. So I knew that I put myself in a situation where, one run could have cost us the game. So I understood.
Your changeup was really effective today. Do you feel like you've gotten a better feel for that pitch throughout the year?
Sí, sí, lo he estado lanzando mucho en el trade program, en el bullpen, y creo que me ha ayudado bastante.
Yeah, I've been, working on it on my my throwing program, bullpen sessions. So yeah, it's helping me a lot now.
Have you been working on anything specific with it, or changed anything, or anything like that?
¿Algo específico que con el cambio?
No, solo lanzarlo. Creo que eso es una de las cosas que me ayudó, porque en los otros días estaba como haciendo algo que no me estaba funcionando.
No, not really. I've been throwing it. The other day I cut myself, like just doing something weird, but I went back to my regular changes.
You guys made a bunch of important defensive plays late in the game to keep it where it was. Just like given the magic you've had this month and last October, did it feel like you guys were going to pull this one out late?
¿Tú sentiste que íbamos a poder ganar el juego sabiendo que hemos hecho cosas milagrosas en uno que otro juego?
Sí, mira, siempre que vamos allá al terreno, siempre vamos con esa mentalidad de ganar. Hoy no se dio, así el béisbol. Creo que mañana ya venimos con otra vez a tratar de ganar el juego.
Yes, I thought we had a chance, but that's baseball. Sometimes you're able to pull a win like that, and sometimes you're not. So at this point, you just have to turn the page and just focus on tomorrow.
You said you.
Ranger Suarez, when asked how he was pitching in game number 3, he said, quote, "I was placing my pitches perfectly." Tom McCarthy, he looked great tonight. I mean, he looked unbelievable. What are your thoughts about when he was removed by Rob Thomson?
Well, I'm not surprised by it, because I do think that they wanted the righty-righty matchup. So he could have easily stayed in. There's no doubt about it. But it's not the first time that we've seen it. It happened to Aaron Nola. It happened to Ranger earlier in the postseason. I don't think that was the reason the Phillies lost the game. I think that run over to first on that unbelievable play by Bryson Stott, I think Rob just thought, you know what, I don't know if he's winded at this point, but I want to get that righty-righty matchup. So I wasn't surprised by that. Whether you want to do it or not as a fan or as an observer is different than whether it's surprising that it happens in this day and age. I mean, obviously the same thing happened on the other side. That kid was dealing, and they went with the analytic part of the game and took him out of it as well. So, no, I wasn't surprised by that.
Tom, what are your first thoughts? I mean, you look at the box score, it's 1 run, 3 hits for the Phillies. You would think kind of a week evening for the Phillies offense. But what are your thoughts on what you saw tonight?
Well, 2 things, Ricky. The defense was spectacular. In fact, I think this is some of the best defense that we've seen the middle infielders play. I mean, Stott's play was just phenomenal, and so was Ranger to get over to first base. And what Trey was able to do, and Bryson and Bryce Harper on that double play, was just absolutely phenomenal. Jose Alvarado was fantastic, too. That's the one thing. The second thing is, quite frankly, I think they're fortunate that they only lost 2-1. I mean, there were so many opportunities for the Diamondbacks. They didn't run the bases all that well. They didn't come up with clutch base hits. They had 9 hits and they left 10 runners on base. So this could have gone a totally different way if not for the Phillies defense and the way that some of the relievers pitched.
Tom, I saw some big swings out of the Phillies offense today. Some guys seemingly almost falling over at home plate. Completely different approach than what they had the first 2 games in the series.
I would agree with that, Ben, and I think part of it is that is that there's a perception sometimes when you look at who's throwing, and in this case with Pfaadt throwing, I think their anticipation was he's given up 22 home runs. Not that you have to swing big when you have somebody that has given up 22 home runs, but I think in their mind that's what they were thinking. We're going to tee off, but give the kid credit. I mean, his ball was moving all over the place. Not only his sweeper, but also his sinker. And I think the movement from one side of the rubber to the other for him really benefited him. I thought he looked really good the way he was moving the baseball. I think both starters looked really good today with the way they were moving the baseball.
T-Mac, Topper looked a little upset after the game. And what was the mood down there in the clubhouse amongst the players? How do you think they'll respond to this? What is your feeling about this next ball game?
Well, I think frustration was probably the best word to describe what was the feeling in the clubhouse. I think there were opportunities that even the Phillies had that they just couldn't capitalize on late in this ball game. I think they're going to be fine, though. I think this team is built this way right now. This happens, and I think their thought process is we got Christopher Sanchez tomorrow, and he's going to be able to change up them to death. and they're going to be absolutely fine. He's going to try to do the same game plan, I think, that Ranger did today. But this group they'll rebound. I mean, they have no reason to think they can't. They still have total control of the series.
Tommy, Craig Kimbrell asked after the game, you should have won this game or you could have won this game, and he said both. Obviously, they couldn't have won this game because they didn't win the game, but do you think they should have won the game?
Well, I think that's a tough one. I mean, honestly, I do believe that the Diamondbacks left a lot of guys out there, so they probably felt the same way, that, all right, we won 2-1, but we honestly should have walked away with this game a whole lot easier. Listen, this was a game that was there because it was 1-1 in the ninth inning, but I don't think it was a should have. I think it was more of a could have today. I think this was one of those ball games that, you get late in the game. It's not should have, it's could have, the way this game went on.
Agree with you, buddy. It's frustrating, though, I'll tell you. But you picked them in 5, and that still exists as a very real possibility. 5 alive, says Tom McCarthy.